This is a broke genius, and this is part one of 10 things I've learned about business. Um, so I'll start from number five and work my way up. Well, actually, you know what? What I'll do is I'll start from 10 and work my way up. So I'll go from 10 to 5. Well, actually, 10 to 6. So, number 10 is business goals and scaling should never stop. So ultimately, you should have, when you're starting, before you even start your business, you should have an initial goal. Even if that goal is included with getting some business insurance, uh, starting the LLC, getting a FEIN number, coming up with a name for the business, some type of perspective or business plan. That would be like considered the initial goal. And what you want to do is after each goal, like for example, your first goal, like when you got everything up and running, you want to have like, I want to make at least $1,000 a month, right? Or $100 a month. So you start small and you start with the goal. And then ultimately when your business is making money, you're scaling in the process because, for example, like my business, my IT business, service business, it actually started in my grandmother's basement. Okay, long time ago, about 2007. And I worked that business from my grandma's basement all the way to a local flea market. Then from the flea market, I went to having a computer shop. Okay, so that's like where it kind of died, but then I'm trying to resurrect it online. It's still going, but it's online. But um, it's right now I'm on Yelp and I'm advertising on Google, but it's still going. But it's like you want to have goals and you want to have scales. Um, I got quite a few enterprises that I'm gonna start off, and then I'm gonna create some goals for that. But you wanna create business goals constantly. Never you don't ne- This will never stop. You'll always have some business goals. I mean, I don't even care if it's 200-year business goals that you pass on to your children, your grandchildren. You want to have goals and you want to constantly try to scale, higher. So number 9 is, and this is kind of tripped out, man, but you don't want to have sex with your subordinates, your workers. It could be a recipe for disaster. Now, it could also be your grandparents because that's actually how my grandmother met my grandfather. Like, she worked for him in a liquor store, drugstore, and the rest is history. But ideally, that does not work out like that for everyone. For me, I had sex with my subordinate. I mean, my worker. It was like I was, you know, my business started crumbling. Like it was like almost like it was like I stuck my Johnson in the curse. It's like, man, I mean, what the hell? What did I do? So you want to be careful with that. Having sex with your employees because they can also come back and try to uh, file sexual harassment on you and stuff like that. But number 8 is it may take you years to turn a profit. Okay, so when you're starting a brick and mortars business or even a home based business, you're gonna have to spend some money to make some money most cases, right? So that includes buying, getting licensed. So you got to get an LLC, whatever the LLC costs in your local, state or whatever. That's going to cost money. If you need liability insurance, That's going to cost money. You got to buy inventory. That is going to cost money. You need tools. That is going to cost money. The actual, like, if you got an office or, brick and mortar's location, that's going to cost money every month. So you write all of this stuff down. Let's say your office, all your tools, all of your items that you need. You might need notebooks, you might need like printer paper, you need printers, you need computers, software. You write all of this down. Let's say it's like, you keep a running tally and it's like 10 grand, right? So ultimately that 10 grand is what you write down as far as the liability as a deficit. So you will have ongoing electricity bills, internet bills, phone bills, also rent for the office space or the retail location. That is also included in those expenses. So ultimately, you would have to reach a threshold of profit to actually recoup that, to make where it's the business is operating at an income, at a positive income. So that is actually kind of like included. It's called like EBITDA. So that's earnings before depreciation, taxes, income. Okay. So it's like that's EBITDA. So you in order to actually turn a profit, you actually would have to make more than what your actual expenses are, as far as your running tally. So if you for example have $10,000 that you've already spent to start your business, I mean every month you have about $600 that you have to spend for your operating costs for your business. So you at 10,000 plus about $6,000. So that's $16,000, right, to start. So in order to turn a profit, roughly speaking, you would have to make anywhere between $16,000. Well, actually, anything over $16,000 a year. So roughly speaking, you would have to make about at least $1,500 a month in order to actually make some type of a profit. Okay, and then also you got to consider, you got to be able to survive as well. So a lot of times when you start a business, you have to actually have some capital savings and or even just a side business or a side job to actually, be able to actually survive. Because when you're starting a business, a lot of times if you don't have a lot of capital, you're kind of like a starving artist, because whatever you make, you really have to reinvest it back into your business. I mean, that's the wise thing to do. So a lot of times you have to have some type of income from another source, because when you're starting out, you're not going to make, usually are not going to make that much money unless you're selling drugs or, I mean, you got a freaking marijuana dispensary. I mean, a lot of times, let's just face it, it's going to take time for you to make money from your business. Okay, some businesses have made a profit fairly quickly. Don't get me wrong, like I said, but most of the time, it may take years for an actual business to return a profit. I mean, like for example, Uber and Lyft have yet to turn a profit. Okay, they've been in business for over 10 years now. They haven't even turned a profit yet. Okay, so it's a multi-billion-dollar company. It just, I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about like a small business, less than $50,000 to $100,000 as far as like money plus coming in. I mean, it's still, even on that level, it might take you a while before you actually turn a profit. Okay. So number 7 is you most likely will work more than you would from a full-time job and be paid less. Okay. Let me repeat that. You will most likely work more hours than you would from a full-time job and be paid less. So, for example, when I had my computer shop in the south side of Chicago back in 2009, and I closed up shop about 2012, at full peak, I was working. So, okay, my hours were 11 a.m. to 7 o'clock at night. And sometimes I would leave the store open to about 8 o'clock. I mean, depending on how busy I was, working, or, how late I wanted to stay open. So you just tally up all of the hours from being open from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Saturday. Okay, and then basically you tally that all up, and you put the hours in, and mind you, you're just starting out. Okay, you don't have an employee yet. You don't even have one employee, and then I was running a computer shop. So the guy that I hired, the little young lady that I hired, all of the people that I hired, they couldn't run the computer shop in my absence. They weren't qualified enough to run the computer shop in my absence. They couldn't just process a customer, take the computer, actually go and fix it and everything, while the customer's waiting, or whatever the case may be. Until I came into the shop, it was literally, they were just babysitting my store. They weren't qualified to actually fix the actual computers, so I usually, they were like, if I left the store, if I actually had someone working for me, they could just help me out in a sense where they would take down the person's name, number, and I can, they'll take the computer in, process it in, then I come in and actually do the work, So basically what I'm telling you is that it was not in any way, any time, my business set up where I had people in there, even if I had an employee, that they could run the shop while I was not there in full capacity. So that being said, most of the time I had to be in the actual store. I had to be there working. So people come in, I could, process their order, take care of their, problems in real time while I'm in there. And I worked over 40 hours. So typically my work shift would be, as far as the hours that I put in, a 40-hour work week plus a part-time job. So I was pushing in probably about 70 hours a week. So, not 70 hours, about 60 hours. Okay. So, and then as far as how much money I was making, it was less than the minimum wage by a landslide. I mean, roughly speaking, I probably was making like $4 to $5 an hour. Okay. It was really bad. Okay. But I'm going to get to why it was bad. And then actually in the next number up. Okay. So number 6 is your business location is important. Okay. So my business location, I talked a little bit about in other videos. I was in a very rough part of town of Chicago. So I was on 79th Street between King Drive and Cottage Grove. Anybody that has ever lived in Chicago or live in Chicago, they know what I'm just saying. The full parameters and spectrum of what I just said. 79th Street between Cottage Grove and King Drive. Okay, so that particular area is very, very rough, notoriously rough, has been that way for over 20 years, okay, over 30 years, okay. That's where my business was. That's where my computer shop was, and it's a very impoverished community, but it's a mixed economic community, meaning it's like you got people in poverty over there, you got people that are working class, middle class, um, even a few people that were upper middle class, believe it or not, because a lot of people around there, they own buildings. They actually own houses. I mean, a cousin of mine lived not too far from there. He's retired from the Chicago Police Department. I mean, his wife has money too. I mean, he just lived in the area. I mean, and it's a lot of people, well, quite a few people that lived in the area that's like considered like upper middle class. It's kind of weird, but the people that kind of make it where it's kind of rough actually are people that lived in apartment buildings in that neighborhood and stuff, transients and stuff like that, people traveling to and from. But overall, it was very kind of lower economic community. So that location, it was like not a lot of people actually that were really interested into like getting. I mean, I had some customers that did shop with me as far as getting their computer fixed or buying computers, but let's just face it. I mean, being in the ghetto per se, it was kind of hard to conduct business. Okay, I didn't sell nothing very simple. I was selling like computers and computer support, IT or computer repair and computer sales in the ghetto. It's kind of rough. I'm just saying, okay? So let's just say if I went and I went to like maybe an upper middle class or an upper class neighborhood or whatever, I probably would have done better. But here's the thing though. One thing I will say and why it was kind of like it was kind of helpful for me as an upstart. I didn't have to pay that much toward rent. So my rent was like initially like 300 and something. No, actually $400 a month. Okay. So, I mean, that was pretty cheap to be in Chicago, even in the ghetto, have a little retail store, $400 a month. The building was, dilapidated building, slumlord, all right. But he came with the deal with me I only had to pay for the first year, only paid like $400. Okay. I think the next year, I think I just had to pay, I think it was like 500 or something like that. I don't know. But the rent was very cheap. Okay. But I had to deal with quite a bit of stuff. But he ended up, his group, a real estate group, they ended up fixing the building up a little bit. They were forced to by the city of Chicago tenant laws because he was getting like, sued, litigation, stuff like that. But yeah, your business location is very, very important. Okay, 10 things I've learned in business, part 2. Okay, and this is last part. So number 5 is if you're doing more than 15% of the work, you don't really have a business. You're just self-employed. So a lot of times, that's how things are set up with people when they start a business, starting with little to no capital. If you got a business loan, even people that have business loans, they still, they start their business with the self-employed concept, which is nothing wrong with it. It's not necessarily bad, but you really don't have a business if you're doing 15% of the work. Rule of thumb, you don't have a business. You're not a manager if you're doing 15% of more than 15% of the work. Meaning, you're like when I had my store, I was the janitor, I was the telemarketer, I was the manager. I was the bookkeeper, was the accountant, I was the lawyer, I was the secretary, everything. I had to do pretty much everything. Okay, so when you're doing that, it's okay, it's fine. It's very, I mean, it's freedom in doing. Business is a sort of it's freedom in having a business, because yeah, you can't get fired. I mean, you can wake up and run your business however you feel you want to run it, but it's rules to it. It's certain aspects that I've been talking about since the first part, and in this part as well. How you should really run a business, but it is freedom with having a business and being even self-employed, but yeah, unfortunately, being self-employed means that you don't necessarily truly have a business, because I do believe in Robert Kiyosaki's quadrant systems, right? So you got employee, you got self-employment, and then you got a business, and then you're an investor. So ideally, what I believe, strongly believe a business is kind of an automated machine, right? It runs off of primarily having a manager or a president, right, or a CEO, and then having, like in a corporate system, CEO, CFO, executives, basically, directors, then managers, then middle managers, and then so on and so forth, right? So in a small business world, you wouldn't necessarily have a president. You'd have a manager, assistant manager, some type of like clerk, then maybe an apprentice, or someone just general employee, and you would have a system basically to run that business off of. So typically, because people don't have enough money to hire a manager, assistant manager, or per se just a team of employees, you're gonna start, most likely, like most people, you're gonna have to be all of those people. You might have to hire someone, maybe one or two employees, right, or even contractors. But initially, to start, you will most likely have to do more than 15% of the work. But rule of thumb, an actual business, at the very least, you're a manager. Okay, your job is to have another manager that is, either assistant manager or just a general manager, and then have an assistant manager, and then having other junior employees as well as like senior employees. That is a typical business. Okay, when you're the manager, the cook, the dishwasher, the janitor, the customer support rep, all of those things, you're not really running a business. You're just self-employed, because you just don't have it set up that way yet. But in order to actually have a business, I would say that you're primarily just delegating tasks. You're primarily just a phone call away, if needed be, as like an emergency basis, that you'd have to come in, or you'd have to fill out important signatures. And then the way they have it nowadays, because they have like I mentioned before, DocuSign, where you could just sign a document over the web and then send it over via email, or through a scan over your phone. You don't even have to be in the actual location to fill out a signature. So ideally, you have a Brinks truck come in to make withdrawals, and then also might even make deposits. You're not, you have everything automated, where as if you only have to be there to just kind of like show up, to kind of maybe do a team meeting, to check on things and stuff like that. You're primarily hands off, and you have managers and, like I said, assistant managers to run your business. If you are doing over 15% of the work, meaning, let's just say you're the manager, and then you also have to come in and do a shift every now and again and stuff like that, or you like also have to work a 40-hour shift to like kind of fill in and manage the business. You're not truly you're not, that's not a true business at that point. You just, it's just a job, and you have a business, but you're really self-employed. Okay, so this is just something that you could think about, and you could always fire yourself, and then get your business where, because primarily it's a money thing. So you want to have enough capital, and I'm going to talk about that. When you have enough capital, you could hire a manager, have start off, basically having an assistant manager that you train him, have actual business booklet, where this business booklet or manual, it from start to finish, from the work day, and in certain guidelines to follow, even how to, like, say if you have a restaurant, how to cook certain food, the temperature, the seasoning, everything like that. You have all of this in a book, and the managers look at this to follow. Because literally, I worked at Tiger Direct, and if like it was something that we didn't know, we can go to this booklet and this Tiger Direct manual, and it'll show you like how to actually, what to do for certain tasks and stuff like that, how it needed to be done. Every retail store has this type of manual that a manager goes to, or an employee goes to give out instructions and to certain tasks that are not really you need help to kind of get what the company guidelines are for. So once you have all of that, and the manager, he has that, and then you train the assistant manager. Now you can give him the full keys and everything. He already knows how to open and close a store. And then once you got him as a manager, then now it's his job to get one of the employees or hire someone to be an assistant manager. And the assistant manager will be, fully trained in how to manage the store, how to run the shift, and, schedule hours and employees and stuff like that, hire and fire people, all of the inner workings of the job. And it'll just it's like a cycle. It'll just keep going. And once you have that, then you have a full-fledged business. I mean, you don't even have to be there. You'll be just at home. You'll have your little office computer system or whatever, and then you'll be able to, you'll have a camera monitoring the store and checking on it. You even have like camera companies, CCT camera companies that actually monitor your store for you, and only just give you alerts when they see something or they report something or whatever. And you literally, once you at that point, you actually have a business. This business is actually making money for you. You're getting profits. It's going directly into your bank, and you actually have a business. And then you could use the same system to open up other locations, and you actually, because one thing, I mean, take all of the politics and the racism and all of that. I mean, you can learn from a racist, okay? Robert Kiyosaki, he dropped some gems, and what he said basically with the business is it's an actual system, okay? That's what a business is. Because when you're self-employed, you're actually working a system, but you're doing it. So with money, without being able to pay and train people to run your business, you're basically training them to run your system of how you want your business to be ran, like as if you were there, you know. So that's all you're doing when you're running a bit. When you have a business, you have a system that it runs itself with the people running it that you pay, that you hire. Okay, so you know that I pretty much went full spectrum with that. So you fully will understand that. So moving along, number 4. Cold calling is your friend if you have a service-based business. So I learned that, you know, I had problems cold calling because I was very apprehensible about cold calling, but I wish I would have did more of it, and I'm actually need to try to get back into it. Even though a lot of times they say people, you know, you should do email marketing and stuff like that, but people still cold call. I mean, unfortunately, a lot of people, they just say, you know, it's like they don't really want to be, you know, get spam calls and stuff like that. But the thing about it is, and there's ways you can actually get leads and stuff like that, maybe to have more of a warm call. But cold calling in a service-based business such as like, you know, computer repair, computer support, is pretty good because I actually got a business lead by calling someone in the white pages. So it was a lady that she had a real estate company, and just so happened because of me cold calling, I actually ran and I got her information. I mean, I got to her by cold calling. So she just so happened to have some computer issues that very day. So I basically got her business by cold calling. She was like 5 miles down the street from me. So I went to her business that day, and I made money off of, you know, basically cold calling, because it could actually just be like that, where someone is actually needing your service that day, and you cold call them to find out. If I didn't cold call, I would have never made no money that day from her. And she ended up being a repeat business customer. And I would have never got her information if I didn't cold call. Okay. So, cold calling is a very useful tool, as well as, also, door-to-door sales. Door-to-door sales is a beast, man. It's actually a dude that he's if you Google or if you look up on YouTube, door-to-door salesman, it's a black dude that he like talks really, really fast. And he's like, I think he's selling some type of soap or something. That dude is a legend, man. I mean, videos, he probably got a whole bunch of videos, but that dude actually, man, he's got like over 1 million video views. Very, very, very effective tool, door-to-door sales. And if people have no soliciting sticker, you just, stay away from, don't knock on their door, or just leave a flyer on their door or whatever. But yeah, that's number 4. Number 3, marketing is an ongoing business task, right? That you're gonna constantly have to do. Okay, so unless you get your business to be where it's like Rolls Royce, or I want to say Lamborghini, but I think Lamborghini does advertise. They just advertise in certain, like, maybe magazines or whatever, but you don't see Lamborghinis on TV ads, right? You don't see Rolls Royce advertisements on TV, because primarily one thing is that people that watch TV are not Rolls Royce customers or Lamborghini customers, because a lot of rich people don't really have time to watch TV, man. Or they don't even watch TV because they could watch something else. They could watch something better or whatever. But typically, that's just not how they do it. They not They don't market that way, but they probably do marketing, but they do marketing in different ways. I mean, um, roughly speaking, a lot of times people market themselves. They primarily make a lot of money off word of mouth, because when you go watch a rap video, I mean, Lamborghinis is on the rap video. Okay, even me, because a Lamborghini is on my 10th step, as far as once I reach $500,000, my reward is a Lamborghini. Okay, so when I put in when I part of my little like secret little like kind of like video that I watch of myself, I put all of the things that I want, all of the rewards that I want on my like little secret video or whatever, or my like video board of inspirational. I call it my my inspirational videos. I put quite a few Lamborghini pictures in there, So it actually does help too, because it helps me achieve my goals a lot quicker, and just almost like automates my brain to achieve my goals and to constantly reach toward higher objectives of reaching my goals, because I'm actually seeing what I actually want. I mean, on a constant daily basis. I even have my Tumblr set up to where I have, shows me mansions, castles, Lamborghinis, different like luxury cars, and women too. But but all of that aside, back to marketing. Marketing is a constant task that you're gonna have to do when you run a business. You're gonna have to constantly think about funneling, SEO optimization, Facebook marketing or social media marketing, word of mouth, door-to-door sales, cold calling, email marketing. All of these things you're gonna constantly have to come up with, and once you achieve your business to a certain level, you really need to consider hiring a marketing agent. Like, I don't even care if it's an intern, like a college intern that actually is going to school for marketing, because you want to pay somebody to do marketing for you, because it could literally make you more money. Because one thing about marketing is like it's an actual business within itself. Marketing is a form of business. It's like you got a tree. Because when I went to business school, when I first started college, business is business administration, business management, marketing, accounting, business law. All of these are actual different segments of business, but they're actual career fields and actually majors within themselves. So you can actually go to college for a marketing degree to just be into marketing in itself, because all of these are different monsters within themselves of business, or actual levels of business. But if you it's two things you really want in business, to really as far as key, or just to kind of take your business off. And I've talked about this before. You need a good salesman or good sales team, but I also want to mention secretively, not even so much secretively, if you got a marketing team, right? Because most corporations, this is like the corporation level. They have all business have a marketing team, and probably work with a PR group or a PR team. But if you have, like, for example, young guy or young woman that they might be a college intern because they're going to school for marketing. If you hire them part-time to just like do certain tasks for you that is marketing related, like, you could just make a lot of money, okay? Because if they're doing their job correctly, they're gonna get you more business, because what marketing does is basically it's very similar to advertising, but it just spreads your business far and wide, to new prospective business patrons. Okay, I mean that's essentially what marketing is, and it's nonstop and it's ongoing. Okay, every day marketing should be part of your daily task. Okay, so number two is you want to make daily deposits. Okay, you don't want to be like me, and I know better because my grandfather, he had a business. He didn't take, like what I was doing was I was taking my money that I made. It's one of the reasons why I'll say, like, maybe I'll do another video of, maybe 5 reasons why my business failed. Okay, or I closed my store or whatever. So one of them I will say is like number two. You want to make daily deposits, right? So when at the end of every day, ideally you want to go to the bank and drop your money off, or the next day drop it off in the morning when the bank opens. And even really, to be honest, you really want to get to a point where you got Brinks or armed car driver coming into your business and doing pickups and drop offs. That's when you get to a point where you're going to be a millionaire. Okay, you're going to be a millionaire business owner because you ain't even going to the bank. You got your Brinks trucks rolling up, man, picking up money and dropping it off. So on a basic level, you want to take the money you make and drop it off at the bank. Don't be putting it in your pocket and go hanging out, and all that, or just living life like I was doing. You don't want to do that. You want to take that money and you want to deposit your money. And then if you want to give yourself a paycheck, give yourself a paycheck. You don't want to just take the money and just put it in your pocket. You want to don't touch it, put it in the bank, let it grow, let it deposit. Deposit every day. If you made money that day, you deposit it. So that's number two. And number one is, and I learned this from a white dude that I was working with. I was installing cable. I think he was from Utah or something. He said he was working in Utah or something. I'll never forget this, man. I've heard this before, and this is called the 30-30-30 rule. So 30% basically rules, what you can call it. So what you want to do is, whatever you make, you want to put aside 30% towards business expenses. So that's your rent for your business, that's your light bill, electricity bill, your insurance, whatever expenses you have for your business every month. You want to allocate 30% of your whatever revenue you make towards that. Okay, and the other 30% you want to put towards actually you want to say not 30% rule, you want to say 33%. Okay, so 33% sort of kind of average out to 100%, right? So you want to say 33% towards business expenses, and then another 33% you're going to put towards reinvestment. So you want to put that back into your business to buy more inventory, more whatever if you want to put it towards marketing or whatever, or just reinvest it towards your business. And another 33% is the last 33% you want to put towards savings. So you want to create some type of fire momentum towards your business, and saving is part of that. So when you're saving 33% every day,